So in this video, we're going to take a look at animating our pop can. So let's start looking at our timeline. We want to break this up into logical progressions. So it's always a good idea to key your character in the idle pose or default pose. So that what that means is if I look over at my side here, I hit Control A to bring up my attribute editor. These are all zeroed out. So what I want to do is I want to lock that position for animation. So on frame 1, I'm going to go ahead and hit S to set a key, and then frame 5, I'm going to hit S to set another key. Now, the first phase of all my animations are to do an idle state. So let's go ahead and type in 5 here for where the 1 goes. And then I want my idle to go 30 frames. So I'm going to go from 5 to 35, just so I have that structure. So with all 3 of these selected, I'm going to select 35 and hit S to set a key. Now there's a couple things. Notice that I can select my can or I can select my joints. I don't want to do that. So up at the top here, I'm going to decompress all of these options except for this where it talks about, where it signifies the NURBS curve. So now when I click on these, I can't select them without selecting that curve. The other thing is I don't need to see my joints right now. So I'm going to go to Show and I'm going to turn off joints. So let's go ahead and select all 3 of these curves again. And in between frame 5 and 35, I want to sort of create an idle animation. So in here, we'll go in about 12 frames. I'm going to hit E, and I'm going to rotate my character and then press the S key again. And then, so it turns to the left, and then I'll go into about 24, and then I'll have our character look to the right, hit S to set a key. So now when I press play, I have my characters looking left and right for its idle stage. Alright? So next thing I'm going to do is jump over to frame 36, and I'm going to go to frame 66. This is going to be our walk animation. So if we go back to frame 36 here, you'll notice that our character is in idle pose. So I'm going to select all 3 of these. I'm going to hit S to set a key. And then on frame 66, I'm going to hit S to set another key. Now so that we don't have to keep hitting the S key, there's an option down here, which is the auto key button. So I'm going to click that, and we know it's compressed because it turned blue. Now halfway between 36 and 66, I'm going to go to frame 50. I'm going to hold Alt and left click and rotate to my side view. I'm going to select this bottom NURB circle, and by pressing W, I'm going to pull my character in the air. Notice that it automatically set a key. So now when I press play, you can see my character does a little hop. Let's add a little more personality into this pose. So let's click back on 50. Selecting this middle NURB circle, I'm going to hit E to rotate. I'm going to rotate this character back. So a little bit more, and then same thing with the head here. I'm going to hit W, and I'm just going to expand that out a little bit. Same thing with this middle circle, I'm going to expand that out. So now when I press play, you'll notice he does a little hop and a lean back. So let's give our character a little more personality. So somewhere around frame, let's say 44, I'm going to select this circle, just the bottom NURB circle, and I want to snap it to the bottom frame. So what we're doing is we're going to hold for a little bit longer than our character is going to hop. So with 44 selected, I'm going to go over to Translate Y and just hit 0 here and hit Enter. Notice that it set a key. So now when I press play, our character gets ready and then he hops. Let's actually give ourselves a little bit of a counterbalance here. So on 44, I'm actually going to select this middle circle, hit E again. I'm just going to rotate him forward a little bit, give him a little bit of a squish here. And now when we go to 36, we get a little bit of a pop in our jump. Let's do the same thing for our landing. We're going to have him land a little bit quicker. So let's go over maybe frame 50 and select this bottom circle here. Same thing on Translate Y, hit 0, make sure that it turns red. And then we're going to grab this guy and we're going to have him squash down, sort of like this. And same thing, have him rotate forward a little bit. Let's see how that looks. Alright, let's press play. We have this little hop and a land. Our character squishes. And if you want to add a little more personality to that squish, where he lands here and squishes, you can have him maybe go over a few more frames, have him extend up just a little bit before he returns to his normal pose. He's got a little bit of a pop there. So that concludes how we're going to animate our character. So go ahead and change 36 to 0 here, just so that in the next video, we have all of our animations on one timeline. You can see we have our idle, we have our hop, and that's good for now.